What does success look like to you?
Do you know what? Interestingly, I'll stick with the internal external sort of dichotomy about bravery, because I think success for me now is very much an internal game, and it is about the sort of feeling, or the, I suppose, the emotions, the feelings, the sensations of finding bliss, finding ease, finding flow, feeling that like calm, that inner peace, that comfort, and like the sort of simplicity around, success for me is that I've got healthy and happy children that are thriving. Success, is that it may be that my symptoms of my illness aren't so bad today as they were yesterday, that kind of thing. And that's a very kind of an internal experience of success. Whereas historically, success for me was much more an external affair. It was achievements, awards, you know, being on the stage, or, being at the pinnacle of your career, or getting a certificate, or having the perfect, 2.4 family unit, or, it was that success was very external for me previously. And now it's much more an internal feeling of success, a feeling, I just want that kind of fulfillment, that sense of purpose, that feeling that I'm doing the best with what I've got and that life is good. That's very much an inside feeling of success.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely again something that comes with age, but that sounds like it's linked to that living in the moment, because that is literally your daily goal. You're looking at success on a daily basis of how successful is today in terms of, my health and what I can do. And I think that really must help keep you in the present moment.
Yes, absolutely. And also for anyone that's, going through anything that's taking a long time or process, um, I always say to myself, it's progress, not perfection, because 12 weeks ago, yesterday, I had major surgery. And 12 weeks ago, I look back and I was only drinking liquid. And 12 weeks later, and I'm now managing to eat some puree and some, I'm, I'm much more sort of like alert, awake, up and about. I'm doing small walks. I've started driving the car again, which for the last, for 9 weeks, I didn't even, because of the wounds on my stomach, etc., etc. So it's all about looking back at how far you've come as well in any journey that you're on. And sometimes you think, oh, well, it's not really progress and I've not really got very far. And yesterday doesn't look very much different to today. But if you look back 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you think, wow, I've really come far. And again, that's an internal knowing of success that no one else knows. The external world won't know that because they won't know what you've been through. Um, and yeah, I keep bringing myself back to that. But look at where you are now from where you've been, at the situations that you've been in, and look how far you've come and how things have changed. And yes, it's things are different now, but that doesn't mean that they can't still be great. It's just reframing what great now looks like for me.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we don't stop to reflect very much, do we? Because society generally is always about the future and where we're going, what we're getting, how we're doing that, and we don't stop and reflect. And it's one of the most powerful things I think you can do, is to stop and go, wow, actually in the last 12 months, what's I've achieved and what's happened to me, it's pretty phenomenal that I'm where I am right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for what we go through. And I think this is probably, as women, um, everyone is always so used to, the rat race, the sort of like hamster wheel, the spinning all the plates, doing all the things, having the mother load that it's called, which in itself perpetuates it even more. But, remembering birthdays, anniversaries, parties, pickups, drop-offs, all that stuff that also comes with being a woman. We don't ever really stop, pause, and then think about, well, where's me in that? And how is this affecting me, impacting me? What do I want? And having that reflection period, not only on where we've been where we've come from. But also, I think we need to reflect on what we've taken on, but also what we've let go of. Because I think success for me is also about letting go of a lot. It's about, that grip and that control on life that we all think we have. We don't bloody have any control really over what's going to happen tomorrow. And I think, we want, I'm a person that does like to be controlled and planned and, on top of everything and fully aware of what's happening and, all the rest of it. But letting go is just as powerful sometimes as holding on, if not more.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of, I'm a Buddhist, so that's a very Buddhist philosophy of that, trying to grasp onto something that's actually transient. There is no permanence in anything, and you don't know what's coming. So yeah, letting go actually gives you so much more freedom. Removing expectations, and actually opens up possibilities, because you're not grasping onto something so tightly that's never going to happen.
And yeah, absolutely removes the pressure and that kind of that pressure cooker that's going to explode because you're holding on so tightly to the outcome.
Yeah.
Feels more easeful and more freeing and more blissful, definitely.
Yeah.
Though not hard, I'm not pretending that it's easy, because it's absolutely not. But if you can get through it, then yes, it does feel better.
Yeah. So how, in terms of looking forward, do you tend not to look too far into the future and just take each day by day, or do you have to have one eye on that with your condition and how that's going to be managed as you get older?
Yeah, I think I'm able to look in sort of the near future, and I do think about next month, next 6 months, maybe even next year, in terms of things I want to achieve, or what I want to do, or things I want to focus on. In terms of the illness, I don't know if it's going to get progressively worse, because as you get older, everything changes. And muscles deteriorate, and the soft muscle at the bottom of the esophagus is something that you can't control. You can't sort of train it, or you can't make it stronger or change it or anything. So if the muscles stop pulling food or puree at the moment through, then it may be back to liquid. But I think I'm more able now to be comfortable with the unknown of that. I think historically, I wanted to know, well, what happens next? What does that mean for tomorrow? What does that mean for 3 months' time? I still would like to know. And there's always a part of me that wants to have a finite answer or a finite reason. I think that's, part of, I'm an extremely curious person, and I think curiosity is not only one of my big values, but I think, humans, we are very curious. And so I'm always wanted to know, but I temper that now with, well, actually, what really matters is here and now. What really matters is what's going on at the moment. What really matters is the sort of day-to-day things that you're facing, not necessarily what you're going to be facing in 12 months' time. There's no point in worrying about something that you can't possibly predict or possibly change. And that's the hard bit about being present, isn't it? It's that you've got to get that balance right between ruminating on the past and what's gone, worrying about the future and what's to come, and just accepting being in the moment. And that can be really difficult when you want to plan and you want to change things. So yeah, it's always a balance, and it's something I'm working on, finding that balance, definitely.
It sounds like you're doing a great job to me, because you're holding a lot of concepts there that are obviously working for you. So I think it'll really inspire a lot of other people that are listening to hear about all those different aspects of your personality that you've had to develop to cope with what's been thrown at you. So yeah, that's been really interesting. So our closing tradition on the Building Bliss podcast is to ask you what you think your younger self would say to you if they could see you now.
Well, I think first my younger self would say, oh my gosh, you're nearly 40. Wow, that's old. Because I think when I was, 14, 15, 16, I used to think that was old and that life was over by that point. Also, they probably say, I thought you were going to be, a journalist. I thought I was going to be a political journalist, exposing the injustices of an evil system on the world. And then they'd say, well, you're still, I suppose I'm writing still in that kind of, I always thought I'd be writing. I might not be writing in a newspaper, but I'm hoping that writing my book is still the same sort of global platform of making change. So I think they'd be, or she'd be proud that I was making a difference with my message, and be proud that I'm doing okay. I've been through a lot of adversity, and I'm using that to move forward and to try and have, the vibrant, happy, full life that we all want. So yeah, I think she'd say well done.
Yeah, I definitely think she'd be very proud of you because yeah, it's been amazing to listen to your story and your approach to it and your philosophy. So thank you very much for that and for your time. Do you just want to give us a bit of a rundown of where people can find you, and maybe have you got a date for your book that when it's coming out, or is it still in its final draft form?
Yes, still in final draft. My manuscript is, so I haven't got a date yet, but people can find me online. If you want to go to the website, it's Wild Wellbeing, WYLDE, .uk. Or I'm over on Instagram at Wild Wellbeing Coaching, and you can get in touch with me to learn about how I can, help you on your journey too.